Hey, how goes it? This is 9255, and this is Xtreme Sports. Released in 2000 for the Game Boy Color, this is the sporty action-adventure that introduced me to the gaming goodness of WayForward Technologies, known nowadays as WayForward. Amid more well-known hits in their catalog like Shantae and Contra 4, lies this lost gem, which I felt like giving a little extra polish, as it has no real videos or guides for it as of putting this together. So lace up your inlines, grab a twitchy shake, and prepare to get extreme with a capital X. This is the wide world of Xtreme Sports. Wait, what? I hate when this happens. Our story starts with Guppy and her boyfriend Finn catching wind of an exciting announcement for a most excellent sports contest taking place out on Xtreme Island, sponsored by the folks at Xtreme Cola, with a rather exorbitant cash prize. Now, if I said this didn't pique the interest of these two young sporty types, I'd be exaggerating just a smidge.
But we can't both enter the competition, can we?
Exclaims Guppy.
Why not?
Explains Finn.
We'll multiply our odds, then divide the winnings. You're on, Finn. Now let's go book a flight out there on Expedia.
Time now to pick our primary protagonist. Any differences between the two are purely cosmetic, though you can't change characters after the game starts. The choice is yours, and yours alone. Me, I've played through the game before as Finn, so this time around I'll be going with Guppy, the original boson babe. Well, here we are at Xtreme Island, and oh my goddess are those some hypnotic hips. You wouldn't think such physics were possible on a system this old. Where was I? Something about an island. Right. There's something very important we need to do first before we can start competing. And that, of course, is get something to eat. May as well go to town on the snacks. Guppy seems like she's got a pretty potent metabolism. This cooler just outside may not be packed with perishables, but it does contain a hidden medal. Most medals are normally won through beating opponents at the various events, but there's a few hidden out and about, so it never hurts to examine anything that looks suspect. Yes, Guppy, spin that medal right round. On that note, we should get signed in so we can start earning more of these shinies. You can rename your character whatever you like, but I'm going to leave the entry form blank, in which case the game automatically gives us their default name. It's been a while since I've played a game without renaming someone something silly anyways. 16? Well, she certainly looks mature for her age. Still, this isn't the first video game to blow proportions out of proportion. So now we're signed in, but we still need to complete a training course before we can begin our quest here on the island of Extremes. Just northeast of the training grounds here is the message center, but we'll get to that in a tick. First, POW! Another medal! Is good. Now we got 2 medals to our name, and we haven't even officially started competing yet. Now since you can't switch characters mid-game, I decided to start over real quick and have Finn take on the training courses, since we won't be seeing much of him in action otherwise. And so begins our extremely rigorous training. Our first lesson is in surfing, the most straightforward of the 5 events. Just move up or down to snag stars and avoid obstacles as you surf the turf with all 10 hanging loose. You can use up or down for slower, more precise strafing, or you can take faster, sharper turns with left or right. And when you approach the top of the waves, you'll automatically catch copious air depending on what part of the curl you're shooting. For the most extreme airs, just aim for the bubbly spots. While surfing the skies, you can pull off spins by holding B with left or right. You'll have to line yourself up facing forward when you come in for a landing so you don't wind up wet behind the ears. But a nice trick to keep in mind is that if you hold left and B the entire time going off a bubbly jump until you land, you'll always have just enough air for a bubblicious triple spin. Having proven our superiority in surfing, let's roll on over next to the street luge. Speed's the name of this game, and one wrong move will take you from 0 to 60 boo-boos in no time flat. Just aim yourself over the ramps and through the gates for score galore. And of course there's the secondary objective of trying not to crash. It's nice the game automatically pans your view up to the top when you've built up speed since you can't go backwards, and you'll need to see as far ahead as possible when stuff's coming at you this quickly. I can see how some people might find the relatively limited view to be a bit of a hassle, especially if you're like me and don't stop to actually use the brakes. Still, this is my first time back through the game in literally years. Plus, trial and error plays a part in all the events, just slightly more so in some events than others. It's really nothing good old practice can't fix. I've definitely seen worse cases, on full-size consoles no less. Anywho, let's scoot on over next to inline skating, where the handrails and treetops become part of our own personal amusement park. Quite fitting, since we'll be looking to score 6 flags during this training session. This is arguably my favorite event, and pretty simple to pick up on since it plays out like a platformer. There's gates to duck under like in Street Luge, plus you can ride the rails and throw down spins for some surplus score. Oh, but don't try running into obstacles without doing a twitchy spin. More on those kinds of abilities later. For now, we'll just take our time to grip the basics of fruit booting. Fruit Booter was also my high school nickname, but that's not terribly important to the task at hand. Darn spiffin', I'm ready to go. Up next, it's time to get schooled in skateboarding, one of the trickier events in the lineup. But don't have a cow, man, cause Finn and I got your back. The most basic trick is the kickflip, which can be done by simply double tapping down. Now the tricky part of tricking off half pipes. Building momentum is actually the hardest part, but what you basically want to do is instead of tapping forward or A to advance, smoothly roll the control pad in time with the angle of your board. Eventually you'll start getting enough air to pull off spins. After clearing the lip, hold B, then left or right to start spinning. Make sure you're lined up correctly coming down though, or you'll be kissing asphalt. It takes some getting used to, but it's easily the best way to score big in this event. Up to a maximum of 3,200 points for a quintupleicious 1,800. You can also hold B when approaching the lip of a ramp to do a hand plant. You can hold a hand plant for up to 800 points without falling, but the timing for releasing your grip has to be pretty precise if you're holding out that long, as you'll automatically lose your grip right at 800. I usually let go at 5 or 600, and though I personally don't use hand plants too often, there's still a good way to tack on a few extra points before getting the air needed for spinning superior scores in the sky. A couple more quick kickflips, simply because I can, but also to show you can still get points from them at a standstill. Another good way to stretch out your score in a pinch. Also real quick, just wanted to show off that you can talk to anybody you've beaten previously for a friendly rematch. The records will be the same, but they'll have different stuff to say. Well, with all that seaside surfing and sidewalk skating, it only makes sense we want to take to the air now for our last event, skyboarding. And whether you want to be the king or queen of cloud kicking, you'll want to let the arrows guide you to your most righteous destiny. Collecting trick arrows will store them up in your trick bar. Once you've got some trick arrows, and you don't manage to crash into something and lose them all, you can hold B to start throwing down your trick by pressing the directions that match up with the arrows you've collected. Then release B to bust loose. Couple things worth noting about this. You'll be forced to stay still while stringing together your combo, and if you press a wrong direction, you'll lose all your arrows. You're stuck in place while typing in your trick and during the trick itself, but will automatically destroy any obstacles for the duration of a successful trick. Though there's only enough room to show the first 7 arrows you have, there's no limit to how much you can gather up at a time. And while bigger tricks yield bigger points, they also take longer to finish. At the end of the course, you automatically pop your chute and have a chance at some extra points depending on how you stick the landing. Typically you can get 3, 5, or 700 points depending on how close you land to the center. But with pixel-perfect precision, it's possible to bag 1,000 on a perfect landing. Just don't expect it to happen too often. Alright, now we can start competing with the other cool Ds out on the island. By challenging other island goers and beating their records, we'll earn medals towards opening up new areas of the island, where more competition awaits. Until eventually we've bested the best of the best, to become the best among the rest. On that note, I'm going to pass the baton back to Guppy before we get started. Don't worry, Finn, we'll keep in touch. And we do that via the message center. Over the course of the game, you'll get messages from the character you didn't select, as they give their thoughts and advance the story along. You can also access a map of the Xtreme Isle anytime by pressing Select, which conveniently shows the location of nearby save stations for saving our progress through the ranks. Though oddly enough, the game only allows for 1 save, despite there being 2 characters. I guess nowadays you get what you pay for. Yes, I'll take a save and a shake, please. For here.